to the bucket. Layup, Johnson, good!
All right, welcome everybody. It's another edition of Talkin' Sports with me, Chris Powers, right here. We're on Monday, April the 1st. You'll see it 5 times this week. Thank you so much for watching us, whether you're watching us on the Pelican Sports app, the YouTube channel, or, of course, on Cox Cable. We're seeing in over 2 million households. The New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Morgan City, also parts of Livingston Parish. We're all over the place. Thank you so much, and we're going to be keep growing this as we get on more and more as time goes on. We have great sponsors like TJ Ribs, attorney Tony Clayton, also the Ponchatoula Strawberry Festival coming up this month, by the way, in a couple of weeks. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll tell you more details about that. Today we've got lots to talk about. We're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the men and women's NCAA tournaments. We're also going to talk about LSU baseball. We're going to talk about New Orleans. Are they going to host a big game anytime soon? You know, we got the Super Bowl coming up this year. But other than that, there's nothing on the calendar for New Orleans, and we used to host big events all the time. We'll tell you about that coming up in a moment. Of course, the big conversation, LSU Lady Tiger basketball on and off the court. It has been unbelievable over the last few days. Let's get right into it. Of course, tonight they play in the rematch of the national championship last year with the Iowa Lady Hawkeyes. And I'll tell you, this is going to be interesting with this because of the fact Caitlin Clark, everybody's going to be watching that. We're going to bring that matchup down. Saturday, Flau'jae Johnson. We were talking about that all here on the off the camera in just a moment ago. Flau'jae Johnson has been the big key. Saturday was unbelievable. She had a great game Saturday. It's going to take all 5 of them to do it tonight to win. Let me give you an example. Flau'jae Johnson has scored, averaging 19.6 points per ball game in the tournament. She's shooting 60% from the field. So she's unbelievable. The second best player in the tournament play is Anissa Morrow. She averages 17 points a ball game, shooting 53% from the field, and averages 8 rebounds. Next is Angel Reese. Angel Reese averages 15.3 points per ball game and 13.6 rebounds per ball game. But Kim Mulkey, please tell her when you get the defensive rebound, you're not Michael Jordan, or even Shaquille could score. He can go coast to coast and score, but she's not. You got to throw the ball up, let somebody else take it, set it up, because not only does she miss shots when she takes it down the length of the field, but she also misses the goal half the time. She's got to be better than that. You got to be able to dish it off. Your job is shooting from the elbow up. That means free throw line all the way to the goal. Past that point, don't even try it. Baseline shot past that, don't even try it. 10-foot shot, don't even try it. You don't even hit the goal. You're dominant in the paint and near the goal. That's where you're dominant at. That's where we need you. Is it she's not getting the hit, or is it Coach Mulkey's not preaching that? I would think Coach Mulkey's preaching that, because I'm going to tell you this. Even though I'm telling you all these what they're averaging per game, LSU is here because of Kim Mulkey and her coaching ability. There is no doubt in my mind. LSU would not be here if Kim Mulkey wasn't their head coach. There's no question. So Angel Reese averaging 15.3 in the tournament. Next is Michaela Williams, 14 points per ball game, shooting 52%. I love her shot. She's got a smooth shot. Haley Van Lith apparently has been on some kind of spring break or something, because she's not playing in this tournament. She's averaging 6 points a game. In 3 ball games, she scored 18 points. 18 points she scored in 3 games. She's shooting 20% from the field. 20%. She's not dishing the rock off right. She's having too many turnovers than you would want to see her do. She's got to be able to play better. And if she don't play good today, they don't win. All 5 players on this team has to do it, because let me tell you this. Iowa leads the nation in points per ball game at 87.3. They lead the nation. LSU leads the SEC in scoring, but Iowa leads the nation in scoring at 87.3 points per ball game. They hit 38% of their three-point shots. So let's say, for instance, like in the national championship game, Caitlin Clark had 30 points in 35 minutes. Let her have her 30 points. She's going to get her 30 points, 40 points. Let her have it. But you've got to be able to stop Kate Martin and also Gabby Marshall. If you don't stop them hitting threes, you're going to be in trouble. If all three of those players are hitting their outside shots, LSU's going to be in trouble. So if I'm LSU, if I'm Kim Mulkey, what I do, Caitlin Clark's going to have her points. You got to get your points in the paint, get them all close to the paint as you possibly can. You got to shoot well from the field. Jonathan, you remember last year's national championship. Not only the bench came through in that first half when they got into foul trouble, but they shot incredible. I think they shot 60-something% from the field in that first half of that ball game.
Right. No, you talk about Jasmine Carson, immediate spark plug off the bench, immediate scoring like a microwave. She can heat up in just seconds. But I want to get back to this UCLA game. Chris, you have to tip your hat to Flaugier in a game that LSU had a lot of trouble scoring offensively.
Right.
She was able to get hot, score a couple threes, and then provided not only leadership inside the huddle, which is well documented. Right. Every break they wanted to show LSU's huddle. Flaugier was giving some type of comment to the group. And, yeah, the energy she brought, the offense she brought, and look, Lauren Betts is another generational player, a talent on the offensive side of the ball. She's 6'7", can pass the ball very efficiently when she gets double teamed. UCLA is going to play a much different style, or did play a much different style than LSU is going to see with Caitlin Clark in Iowa. In my opinion, this game has got to be in the 70s for LSU to really have a chance to win. You don't want, like you mentioned, the three ball shooters that Iowa has, but it starts and ends with Caitlin Clark. I do believe Flaugier is going to see a lot of one-on-one time, man-on-man with Caitlin Clark. It's going to be. So
who would you guard?
I would put Flaugier on Caitlin Clark.
The only thing about that I have a problem, and I agree with you. I think that's the player because remember Haley Van Lith did a great job against Middle Tennessee State's big three-point shooter. She did a great job. I don't think Van Lith will be able to keep up with Caitlin Clark. Caitlin's always moving.
Right.
She's moving through the screens and everything else. She's always constantly moving. With Flaugier, I'm thinking that because of her length, she won't be as agile to be able to cover. Now, obviously, her width, she'll be able to mess some shots for Caitlin. But I think agility-wise, because she's so tall, that's why you don't get tall cornerbacks, because they have giraffe legs. Right. You want to get a 6-foot or below a cornerback who can have a lot of agility and make a lot of moves. But so you would put Flojo on her tonight?
I would start with Flaugier. Look, LSU has to do a very good job setting up their offensive sets each and every possession down the court. You have to slow the game down, keep the ball out of Caitlin Clark's hands as much as possible. You know, she could score in a blink of an eye. They compare her a lot to Steph Curry, not only because she shoots the threes, but her movement without the ball is so dynamic. Right. She's catching balls off screens, and she lets it fly. And look, she broke the all-time points record for a reason. She can absolutely fill it up. LSU can't allow Iowa's best player. They did a pretty good job last year in the championship game to limit Caitlin Clark. Got in her head. You saw Angel Reese giving the "you can't see me." That's a big part of getting Caitlin Clark out of her game. Look, she's a competitor, no doubt. But if you talk a little trash, bump her around a little bit. Right. You even saw her dad in the stands at the end of the last tournament game. Before they beat Colorado. Look, calm down. You have to stay within yourself. That her emotions sometimes do play a role in her game.
And I think it's been this year more than anything. Right. I think her emotions have gotten into it, even though I think they showed it after why she was so upset that girl threw that elbow and the referee missed it. I think it's been bad officiating big time. But so do we have an Alexis Morris this year that can handle Caitlin Clark? I mean, my goodness, she did. Even though she got, you could tell she was frustrated, and she got in foul trouble last year in the first half, so she had to come out. And then she had a monster second half in shooting herself. So it's going to be interesting tonight. I just think it's going to be very interesting to see what they can do. Like I said, I think Caitlin Clark has kept this in the back of her mind. And I think the NCAA made a mistake, I think. This should have been the first game of the Final Four.
Right. Well, you talked about the bracket and how the tournament overseers did an excellent job with this side. Not only do you go through LSU, UCLA, which was a monster game, but now you have the rematch, the national championship, which doesn't involve South Carolina, which is still chugging away on the other side of the bracket. So it's setting up nice for LSU. Iowa is a beatable team. You saw them lose late in the season with their conference tournament game. So. Can it be done? Yes, but I 100% agree with you, Chris. Yeah. Haley Van Lith has to score the basketball tonight if LSU has a chance in this basketball game.
Right, they have to. And so if I'm Van Lith, and we were talking about this, Alan, and you and I were talking about this all before the game started, before the broadcast started, I think, okay, Reese is done. And what Reese is going to do is she's going to have that press conference where the world's watching. That's the only reason why she hadn't come out and said, I'm going to the WNBA next year. That's the only reason why she hadn't come out and said it, because she made a mistake in that game against Middle Tennessee State after the press conference. She said, I didn't want this to be my last game going out like this here at the PMAC.
Right.
We know she's gone. Van Lith, if her dad was anything in her ear to tell her, you better stay. Because I'm assuming that her WNBA draft stock has plummeted down. She averages 14 points a game in her career. This year she averaged 11. But in this tournament, where all the eyes are watching, 6 points per ball game like we mentioned earlier, I would think her plummet has dropped in the WNBA, wouldn't you?
She's going to have to prove that she is capable of scoring out of the point guard position, able to work that pick and roll a little bit more effectively with that step back and shoot. Look, she's undersized for a guard, even in the WNBA. She plays a lot of good defense, Chris, and that's why she's able to stay on the court. They compared that late charge she took against UCLA to a play that Kim Mulkey made for La Tech 40 years ago. But Haley Van Lith, she's catching a lot of flack right now for some comments off the court, and what she appears to be I don't want to use the R word on your show, Chris, but there has been that racism word tossed around, and she came into a new spot coming from Louisville to LSU, a culture shock. Peter Burns, a guy that does a lot of work for the SEC Network, said that LSU women's basketball team should be America's team with all the different walks of life these girls come from.
Right.
They don't have the same personality. Flaugier is not the same as Angel Reese, who's not the same as Del Rosario. A lot of different walks of life, but somehow they make it work on the basketball court. And really, that's how this country needs to get along. Doesn't matter where you're from, doesn't matter what your personality is, but working together to achieve a common goal. And Haley Van Lith absolutely plays a big part of that, even though she hasn't been scoring the basketball.
No, she is right. And I have to say, Kim Mulkey finally made a mistake, because she's left off the court antics. She's like upset that the Washington Post article came out on Saturday, but yet she's fed it all the way through. So the Washington Post story comes out on Saturday, and she says, okay, of course, this happens when we're playing UCLA. The timing of it was bad. But as a writer, you want it to happen at a perfect time. Right. So I don't blame him on that part. No one else, if he does it off season, nobody's going to read that article. But they're going to read it now. It's made unbelievable news all over ESPN, all over the place. I'm knocking the phone down. I'm Bobby Knight knocking the phone down over here. But all that stuff that is happening, so Kim Mulkey had a chance to keep it under wraps, but she hadn't done it. So let's talk about the Washington Post story. Talks about her strange relationship with her dad and her sister. Her dad, apparently she wrote in her book, we all knew that, from Tickfaw area, Tickfaw, Louisiana, which is right outside of Hammond. You go 5 minutes down the highway and you're through Tickfaw. But if you go 5 miles over that speed limit, you'll get busted. They have ticket big time. They have cops everywhere in Tickfaw. You think they're Chicago, as many cops they've got in Tickfaw, Louisiana. But anyway, apparently her dad had an affair, and she's never gotten past that. She's never forgave him for that. We all knew that. She had a memoir that came out a couple of years ago. It said that. And apparently her sister is on her dad's side, or trying to, she maybe forgave her dad, and Kim Mulkey has a problem with her sister. And this is sad, isn't it? Kim Mulkey's dad said that he's actually going into the games in the stands, and she hasn't seen him in those games. That he's in the stands, he's supporting her. All right, then also the Washington Post talked about gay players and her treatment of gay players. One player came out, I'm assuming she's had more than one player that's been gay. We all know that Brittany Griner was gay, and she is gay, and Brittany Griner didn't come out and say anything, but what was told was that Brittany Griner was told to cover your tattoos up and stop putting all of your personal life on Facebook, on social media. That's what Kim Mulkey told her. And so that they say that was pointing Brittany Griner out, and that's sad. Also talked about a brutal reality to some players. So the days of the Bill Parcells, the Bobby Knights, the Pat Summits, they're gone. We live in so soft of a community, you've hurt my feelings. I can't get out of bed now. When have you ever heard, Jonathan, and the first time I really heard of this was Simone Biles out of Houston, when she was in the Olympics, had to pull out of the Olympics because of mental health. And now we've got, who's that goofball player that came out of LSU for 1 year? I don't even think he went to school, one class. And now he's in the NBA. And he's missed so many games because of mental health. It's been unbelievable. Mental health is, I mean, come on. Look what we went through in all our lives growing up. And you're going to tell me that you can't handle this? Well, then sell flowers. Go sell T-shirts on the corner when they win the national championship. So as far as her brutality towards players, I got no problem with that. Now, I don't believe in somebody hitting a player like some play Bobby Knight did in bathroom stalls and what have you. I'm not for that. But at the same time, I don't mind if a coach is brutal. Sean Payton, it looks to be more brutal now in Denver than he was in New Orleans. Maybe because he didn't have the problems that he did in New Orleans as he does now in Denver. I mean, he's being honest. When they ask him about Russell Wilson, do you regret letting Russell Wilson go? Nope. Just that quick. He said, nope. I don't remember him being that brutal, but I do remember him fussing at players on there. So the LA Times, so you got the Washington Post, now you got the LA Times coming out with a story. The LA Times story calls Lady Tigers dirty debutantes. Now, I don't know if you know what a debutante is. A debutante is, down in the South, they had a young female be introduced at a ball. It's the first time that families would see her at a ball. But they called them dirty debutantes. That's what Kim Mulkey had a problem with that. Called them also Louisiana hot sauce. I got no problem with that. Jonathan, do you have a problem with that?
No, not
Louisiana hot sauce? I got no problem with Louisiana hot sauce. Dirty debutantes? Yeah, okay. I see where that's bad.
Chris, I really just have to say, I could not do the job of a college women's coach. There's so much outside of the sport. You're dealing with, teammates having relationships with each other. Look, I don't know these girls personally, but I can guarantee you Kim Mulkey has had more than one lesbian on a roster in her 30-plus years of coaching. Right. There is no doubt. So Kim Mulkey has a few things working against her, obviously, and it couldn't have anything to do with skin tone. So we're not even going to talk about that. And it couldn't have anything to do with her heterosexuality. So we're not going to talk about that. But just the way that she's an old-school coach and really likes to be tough and get the most of her players while treating them in a certain – look, it's not disrespectful, but she is going to tell you what she thinks, how she thinks it. It's her job to get the most out of you, and that's how she approaches the position. I have no problem with how she talks to her players. There has been thousands, literally thousands of players that come out in support of Kim Mulkey. Right. Going back to the hit piece, look, I've seen a lot of social media commentary that's like, well, she didn't come out and deny anything in the Washington Post. It's not a good look for Kim Mulkey to come out and just say, I will sue you. Well, her exact words were, if you print a defamatory story about me, I'm going to sue you. I've hired the best defamatory lawyers in the country, and we're going to sue you. That, to me, is a fair warning to a Washington Post. Look, have your editor go through with a fine-tooth comb, fact-check everything. That's what good journalism is. I have no problem with her comments at the press conference. But and they go back to the dirty debutantes. Well, of course, some people have a problem with how Angel Reese handles her press conferences. It doesn't matter how she plays. She's a very confident, well-established on social media black woman who has a strong following, and she's not afraid to speak how she's comfortable speaking. She doesn't feel a need to talk a certain type of way. So, it does rub people the wrong way when she feels she can give Caitlin Clark the John Cena you can't see me, because Caitlin Clark, was the golden child of basketball. Right. They felt like Angel Reese should have stayed in her place, stayed in her lane, and really Kim Mulkey agrees that Angel Reese does not have a lane. She's dominating basketball right now in a way that, hasn't been done. Chris, I've watched more women's NCAA March Madness in the last 2 years than I've ever watched. I have too. More than the men.
Yeah, I have too. And I would tell you, so with the Angel Reese thing, so obviously it comes out, Haley Van Lith is what you're talking about. Haley Van Lith said that black people can't trash talk on the court because they're black and it's racist, and I can trash talk and I don't get anything. Well, Larry Bird for years trash talked. I didn't know it. I had no idea because we didn't have social media back then. Right. Michael Jordan trash talk. Michael Jordan, in fact, I don't know if you saw this. A clip just came out of Dominique Wilkins, Atlanta Hawks, big, of course, high flyer, slam dunk competition, all that stuff, says that they were getting ready for a game. Michael Jordan comes in their locker room pregame, and just looking around, Dominique Wilkins was like, oh, my God. And Michael Jordan said, y'all better lace him up tonight. and he left and scored 60 points on him. So Michael Jordan's done it. So I don't know if it's a race thing as far as that. What my problem is with Angel Reese, do the Joe Burrow ring thing, but she followed Caitlin Clark around the court and did it, and did that in like the John Cena, you can't see me, in front of her face. That to me is not what you do. You go around, what Joe Burrow did, he walked to the sideline and did that. There's one thing if you want to trash talk in the game, but when you were doing that, to me, that didn't look good for Angel Reese, and that's why she's getting what she's getting. Now, off the court, I think she's a great person. Gave what the basketball team all those earphones and stuff like that. She's very good. I mean, I've heard she's nice. I've never met her. I heard she's great. But on the court, I've got no problem with her being a player that's gonna be aggressive and it's gonna talk track. I got no problem with that. I'm like you. If I was a fighter, I wouldn't talk to my opponent at all. If I'm a boxer, after the match, I'd make sure he's okay and everything else of that nature. Because baseball has it the worst in the world. Because baseball, if you hit a player, if you're a pitcher and you hit a player, I'd want to go see and make sure he's okay if you hit him in the face. But in baseball, if you do that, your teammates tell you better not do that. You better not do that, bro. Yeah. And the other pitcher now has got to go after your teammates. That's what baseball's done all the time. But I just think that Angel Reese has handled it a little bit wrong. And if I'm Kim Mulkey, I tell her, yeah, don't do the ring thing again. Because, Jonathan, I think you'll agree, Caitlin Clark has got that in her mind. She remembers that from last year. And I'm telling you right now, don't be shocked if she puts 60 points tonight on Angel Reese and LSU, because she's going to be out there.
No, I think Caitlin Clark mentally is going into this game about as well prepared as you could possibly be. Physically, you're going to have to get to her early, bump her around a little bit, let her feel your physicality a little bit. That's the only way you're going to get off her game. Because,
right.
Yeah, mental state, I think Caitlin Clark's going out for blood tonight. Absolutely.
So a poll came out, 4,100 people. A poll came out, 4,100 people. Who do you want to win tonight? Iowa, LSU, national poll. What do you think the numbers are? Iowa. How many do you think they want Iowa to win?
Oh.
How much?
I don't know. Alan's saying 40% Iowa.
40%? LSU 60?
I'm saying 45% Iowa, 55% LSU.
4,100 people polled. 81% want Iowa to win the game.
There you go.
If you want the Detroit Lions of the Detroit Pistons of the Bayou, you've got it. If they wanted a bad girl thing, which, okay, I'm fine with that, because I didn't like the Pistons. I was a Celtic fan and Bulls fan. But I kind of like, man, they're aggressive. I like, you got it. So that's not going to sell T-shirts, though. Memorabilia, you're not going to sell memorabilia if you're nationwide, LSU. If they're hoping to get T-shirt sales, you're not going to get it. 81% of the fans polled want Iowa to win tonight's game. That's unbelievable. So, again, the question is, does Coach want this kind of mentality, of this image? Does Coach Mulkey want this image? Will she try and change it in the future? I mean, I don't know. I mean, you kind of remember she played that way. I mean, she didn't play dirty, but she played aggressive. She was always yelling. She was always moving around and all that stuff. And the way she handles the media, she tells you like it is. So apparently she wants it because she's got it. Now, like you said, Jonathan, you said something earlier where they were America's team in a way last year, the national championship. Ain't that way no more. It's gone. What do people in New Orleans say? Ain't that no more?
Ain't there no more.
Ain't there no more? It ain't there no more. Because now 81% of America wants Iowa to win the game tonight. Everyone's pouring against LSU tonight, pulling against them.
Do they want it or do they think
they're wanting them to win, right. And I'm like, so they're pulling for Iowa. They want Iowa to win the game, whether they think they're going to win or not. These are fans. You know how the armchair quarterbacks are, armchair fans are, or sixth man on the team or whatever you want to call it. So I'm wearing my LSU shirt today for a reason. I'm wearing it for a reason because I'm a Kim Mulkey fan. Always have, always will be. I thought she should have came 100 years ago, and like I said it on this show before, that I think if she'd have came to LSU years ago, she'd have as much national championships at 8 as Pat Summitt does. I really do. I think with the resources LSU has, she would have had way more national championships than she has just 4. And I think she's going to win more in LSU. I don't know how long she's going to be, maybe 10 years, maybe 7 more years, maybe, coaching. I think she's going to win another championship. Next year's team looks stacked already, but this year's team looks stacked too on paper. But we've had injuries and people kicked off the team and what have you. So, but Jonathan, the bottom line is whether you agree with her or not, guess what? Her way wins games. Her way wins games.
Chris, to make the Elite Eight with playing seven players log minutes for LSU. That is unbelievable to make it through an entire SEC gauntlet, go through the SEC tournament, now make it to the March Madness Elite Eight in the NCAA tournament. Absolutely wonderful job coaching, getting the most out of these girls. You lose so much off the team from last year. Alexis Morris, not only was she the floor general, she was the one who had the offensive output in the championship game when everybody else looked a little bit shell-shocked. Alexis Morris was able to fill it up. And you bring in Haley Van Lith, you change her position completely. You have to lose Kateri Poole off. She logged a lot of minutes Kateri Poole did last year. Not only could she shoot, but she was a big body on defense.
Right.
That was going to be a vital player for LSU down the stretch. She's not there. You lose Samaya Smith, another very valuable player that was going to log a lot of minutes to LSU. You bring in a freshman, Del Rosario. She has to log some minutes. So, look, Kim Mulkey absolutely has maximized the talent on this roster.
She's the reason they're this far.
Yep.
It's not the players, because Angel Reese really, you can look at it. Angel Reese is getting some points down low, but she's really not having a great tournament either. Yep. She's missed a lot of shots. She's missed a lot of opportunities. It's no question Mulkey has brought him this far.
Chris, tonight absolutely could be the Flau'jae Johnson national coming out party as being a player to watch next year, because the way she played against UCLA was phenomenal, and they're going to need a performance just like that again tonight.
And she's a sophomore. Wait till she comes back as a junior. What do you think she's going to be as a junior? And Williams is a freshman. Wait to see her as a sophomore next year.
Yep.
And then we got that big Arkansas player coming at 6'4". Oh my goodness, LSU's going to be big. But again, we thought they were this year. You never know when. That's why you want to build depth. But with this year, with this day and age transfer portal, it's hard as ever to build depth. I do think Reese is gone though. I do think Van Lith needs to come back. If she's going to listen to her dad, she's going to come back. But I think, Jonathan, she's done. I think Van Lith will leave. I think she's going to try the WNBA. I don't think she should. I think she should stay another year at LSU. No question about that. Again, she averaged on her career 14 points a game. This year she's averaging 11. LSU baseball. If you think anything's more with Van Lith, wait till about LSU baseball. Oh, my. So when are we going to stop saying, oh, they'll get it together? They'll get it together. Time is running out, and, we're not in halfway through the SEC season yet, but we won't be there much longer. We'll be back and talk about LSU baseball when we continue to talk sports right here with Chris Powers on Pelican Sports TV.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton and Fruget. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton and Fruget today.
We already know that TJ Ribs on Acadia and I-10 is home to the world-famous baby back ribs. But did you know they're also champs in catering events and the most delicious wings in Baton Rouge? TJ Ribs wings are flavored to perfection and starts a party in your mouth. Served with homemade wing sauce and ranch dressing. TJ Ribs can also cater any event, large or small, with the MVP, the Heisman, or even if you're feeling the Natty Package. Call 225-283-1035. Come enjoy a drink at the 50-foot bar and take a picture with the Heisman Trophy at TJ Ribs, a Baton Rouge original for over 30 years on Acadian and I-10. Are you ready for the 52nd Annual Ponchatoula Strawberry Festival? Friday, April 12th through Sunday, April 14th, with live music from Lindsay Cardinelli, The Dominoes, Nashville South, Clay Cormier, and lots more. The parade is on Saturday, April 13th at 9:30 a.m. Get involved in the egg toss and the always popular strawberry eating contest. A huge midway offering tons of rides for all ages. And of course, get the best strawberries in the world grown by local farmers. The biggest festival in the South, the 52nd Annual Ponchatoula Strawberry Festival, April 12th through 14th, inside Memorial Park. We'll see you there. Oh, welcome back, everybody, right here as we're talking sports with Chris Powers. Jonathan, anybody, Marty, you going to the Punch to the Strawberry Festival? Jonathan going to the Strawberry Festival?
I sure hope to make an appearance at the Strawberry Festival. That's a good time out there, Chris.
Yeah, it is fun.
Punch
it is fun.
That's God's
You're not going to go to the French Market Fest going on at the same time? They said, thank goodness that they have both of them at the same time, because there'd be a ton of people from New Orleans going to Ponchatoula. Even with the NBC Today show, the second half show with Hoda, I think they're gonna be live from New Orleans that week. But anyway, Ponchatoula Strawberry Festival is so fun, and you get the best strawberries in the world. Great food, great rides, lots of people. It's unbelievable. It's an unbelievable experience down I-55, and I can give you even a back way to get there if you want. We'll tell you more about that coming up as we get closer. We're only 2 weeks away. LSU baseball on a 5-game losing skid of the SEC. Jonathan, let me ask you, before the season started, would you have thought you would have said that?
No, I didn't think the number 2 preseason poll was accurate with how much they did lose off of the team. I thought the expectations were a little bit too high for Coach Jay Johnson's bunch. But to answer your question, Chris, no, I did not have LSU losing the first 3 series. And they're getting swept by Arkansas. It hasn't happened since Coach Jay Johnson's first year at LSU, getting swept in a series. Did have a lot to play for, even though they did get beat on Thursday and Friday because of Easter. Happy Easter, by the way, Chris. Didn't get to see you. But no, this was unexpected to say the least. Bullpen struggles, the offensive output, even in the field. LSU, like I said, turnover, a completely new team, but all the lefties on the team. Before the SEC play started, the bullpen looked great. Offensively, the starting pitching looked good. Luke Coleman's ERA was 0. You couldn't get any better, but yeah, there's been some struggles, to say the least.
Oh, 23 walks this weekend.
Yep. 23
walks this weekend. And like we were talking about, they're letting a lot of the leadoff batter in every inning on, and that always 9 times out of 10 they're going to score a good 7 out of 10, let's say. But also a lot of single home runs, too. Solo home runs are not helping. They're not anybody on base where they're hitting home runs. That's struggling. They're 2-7 in the SEC. They're second to last place in the SEC West. LSU is batting just .289, which is 7th in the SEC right now. They're 8th in ERA at 4.24. They're tied for 6th in fielding percentage, which is not bad at .977. And they host number 6 Vanderbilt this weekend at Alex Box Stadium. Now, we talked about that a little earlier off the show. We talked about that because I'm going to tell you, you and I know how this business works with regionals and super regionals and what have you. It goes by RPIs and all that kind of good stuff, and it doesn't go by just the LSU on your chest or LSU on your baseball hat. They host at seven series left in the SEC. They have 10 total. They've gone through 3. They have 7 left, so we're not halfway through. But the problem is, they only have 3 ranked teams as of right now that they have to play for the rest of the SEC. That is Vanderbilt, Tennessee, and Texas A&M. All the other ones, the Alabamas, the Missouris, and the Ole Misses, they're not ranked. They're not ranked. So 4 of their last opponents are not ranked. And they're going to have to really take this hard because you got to start getting RPI points. So if you want to host a regional, much less than a super regional, you got to get right now and get going. Jay Johnson, you can see how frustrated he was on Saturday. LSU would not be in the SEC tournament if the tournament will be held today. 12 teams are invited. Next year, all 16 will be invited when Texas and Oklahoma come in. It'll be a single elimination tournament. Jonathan, can Jay Johnson turn this around quick, do you think?
No, it's not going to be a quick turnaround, Chris. Baseball, the numbers do work out in the end because there's so many opportunities at the plate and on the mound. It's not going to be a quick turnaround because we're still unsure of what the lineup's going to be week in and week out. You have freshmen that have been, thrust into positions that they weren't expecting having to play. Bats that really were successful for LSU. We'll just take Jared Jones, for instance. In the Sunday game, after LSU had already lost the series, he was again 0 for 3 in that 5 spot, and it didn't get any better before or after him. Travinsky was also 0 for 4, and Pearson was, I think, 0 for 3 with a walk. The middle of your lineup is not producing guys that have valuable Omaha at bats, guys that aren't new to the game, that are not having success for LSU. We thought Hayden Travinski was going to, DH a lot this season. Well, unfortunately, he's had to catch more games than I think Jay Johnson would have liked him to do.
And he's too big of a guy to catch. That's got to be killing his knees.
Defensively, he's the worst catcher LSU has.
Right.
Milazzo and Brady Neal are both defensively better than Travinski, but you want his bat in the lineup. You don't have another bat right now at that catcher spot. Brady Neal has gone ice cold. Milazzo was never the offensive catcher that. A dynamic offensive catcher, I should say. He's always going to bat, low 200s. That's who Milazzo was. But defensively, he is far superior to Hayden Travinski. Now, at some point, I do believe the bats will turn around. Tommy White cannot drag this team by himself to the postseason. But so far, you win one SEC a game against Mississippi State by 1 run. They scored 9 runs in the first three innings against Mississippi State. The only game they were able to take in Starkville, and you only win 9-8. The bullpen has been a struggle.
And I don't see a leader on this team. Tommy Tanks White. He's going to be the stat leader. He's batting .319 right now. Travinski, like you talked about, is batting .313. I would hope that he could be an inspirational leader, if some say.
Yep.
Bingham is hitting .313. Millam is hitting .309, and Broswell is hitting .301. It's 5 players that hitting over 300. That's it. This team, like you said, Jared Jones is 284 now. He's under 300. He's at 284 right now. Brady Neal's batting .275. I mean, this guy continues to get beat up behind the plate every time he gets back there. He got injured last year, and I mean, every time he's going down, he's getting into midsections, get hit in the throat or whatever. Constantly, this guy's getting beat up. He just can't stay healthy. And catcher, like I said, Travinski, I remember last year he wasn't available all the time. When you're a big guy like Travinski is, you're not going to be a good, as far as a catcher, that durability all season long. On your knees and on your back, it's going to kill you. That guy's just too big to be a catcher.
It's too much weight to be sliding on your joints, for 3 hours in a ball game. And it's not just one area to point at as the problem for LSU. I mean, across the board, the bullpen struggled, the starting pitching struggled, not scoring enough runs, even in the SEC, with good defense. You mentioned the fielding rate. I think Michael Braswell has been a bright spot at shortstop. Wasn't sure how he was going to work out, taking up for Jordan Thompson, who spent a lifetime at shortstop for LSU. But so much turnover. You lose the number 1 overall pick, the number 2 overall pick, the Golden Spikes winner, the Player of the Year. Trey Morgan. You go through Braden Jobert. You just lose so much. Gavin Dugas.
Right.
So much off the team, Chris. That the number 2 national ranking to start the season, I think, did add a lot of pressure to these guys who. I think that the guys that were on the team last year kind of thought that we would just fall into a rhythm of, this is the national chance for LSU. We have no chance. We're going to show up. The problem is when you're the defending champs, you get everybody's best shot, everybody's best crowd. And these crowds LSU are going to face on the road have been unbelievable.
I mean, if you see the Arkansas crowd, I thought they were people falling off the bleachers.
And it started in Mississippi State and Starkville, and it has not stopped yet. Arkansas, very tough place to play. One of the best teams in college baseball, but they beat LSU like they were in a different league than LSU. It wasn't 2 SEC teams playing. Really, no game you felt LSU had the ball game in hand.
So let's say LSU doesn't make the SEC tournament. With the record they have, do they make the NCAA tournament?
No.
Let's say they do make the SEC tournament and they don't go deep. Do they make I think they'll make the NCAA tournament, but they won't host one.
I don't think that. I think even as we sit right here, unless they turn things around up quick and in a hurry, you can kiss hosting a super regional goodbye even after this series. Even though we're not halfway done with the SEC play. SEC is really good at baseball, and the teams that aren't ranked right now have a very good possibility of getting ranked later.
And where will we go if we don't host the NCAA tournament? It seems like the NCAA tournament, for some reason or another, has a hard-on to sending us to Corvallis. Every damn year.
You called it. That's where I'd guess it. Yep, Corvallis.
Oregon State, every year.
The Beavers. Yep.
So we better host it. So I think this weekend's got to start.
Yep.
If they can take the series against Vandy, and if they got it at home, a big LSU crowd, they got to take the series at home this weekend. They got to start. They haven't won an SEC series yet. They got to do it right now.
Yep. Got to give a shout-out to the Jaguars. LSU versus Southern tonight, April 1, April Fool's Day at the Box.
Could it be an April Fool's Day there? They're on a 5-game winning streak. 5 games in SWAC play. They've won 6 out of their last 7 games. They are unbelievable. They beat Prairie View. They swept Prairie View A&M, who, by the way, Prairie View was picked to win the SWAC West this year, and they beat them yesterday 22-12. And they came back and beat them 11-10 on Saturday, the game I did on the radio. I couldn't believe that. Man, it was hard for me keeping up the score on that.
Yeah.
Because I'm the scorekeeper as well. I was
Right.
keeping score, and I'm like, oh, my goodness. You had to keep up with that crazy stuff, but they won at 11-10. So right now, Southern, like you said, is on a 5-game winning streak in the SWAC. They've won 6 out of the last 7. They play tonight, and you think there's going to be a crowd there tonight? Maybe more Southern fans, because LSU fans are going to be watching that TV with the Lady Tigers playing tonight.
Yeah, Lady Tigers also on the tube tonight. So, yeah, I think you're right. More Southern fans going to be at the box. But what an opportunity for the Jaguars to go play at the box. Historical venue, going to be cool for the fans. And, look, it's good. I think it's going to be a closer game than a lot of people want to give Southern credit for.
And they lost 17 players last year, Southern did. So they're going to have to really play good tonight to do it. I think those midweek games for LSU is not going to propel them to do anything. They've got to continue to beat these SEC teams. I think LSU will win tonight's game probably at Alex Box Stadium, but man alive, what in the world is going on? All right, when we come back, NCAA men's and women's brackets for basketball. What do the ratings look like? How's everything look? We've got some pretty unique things that can happen after tonight. We'll tell you about that when we return as we're talking sports right here with me, Chris Powers, on Pelican Sports TV. Are you ready for the 52nd Annual Ponchatoula Strawberry Festival? Friday, April 12th through Sunday, April 14th, with live music from Lindsay Cardinelli, The Dominoes, Nashville South, Clay Cormier, and lots more. The parade is on Saturday, April 13th at 9:30 a.m. Get involved in the egg toss and the always popular strawberry eating contest. A huge midway offering tons of rides for all ages. And of course, get the best strawberries in the world grown by local farmers. The biggest festival in the South, the 52nd Annual Ponchatoula Strawberry Festival, April 12th through 14th, inside Memorial Park. We'll see you there.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton and Fruget. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton and Fruget today.
We already know that TJ Ribs on Acadia and I-10 is home to the world-famous baby back ribs. But did you know they're also champs in catering events and the most delicious wings in Baton Rouge? TJ Ribs wings are flavored to perfection and starts a party in your mouth. Served with homemade wing sauce and ranch dressing. TJ Ribs can also cater any event, large or small, with the MVP, the Heisman, or even if you're feeling the Natty Package. Call 225-283-1035. Come enjoy a drink at the 50-foot bar and take a picture with the Heisman Trophy at TJ Ribs, a Baton Rouge original for over 30 years on Acadian and I. TV, wherever you're watching us, in New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Livingston Parish area, Morgan City. Caught my biggest catfish ever in Morgan City and got it right on the side of the boat. That thing was huge. Right on the side of the boat. My dad went to put the net underneath it, and as soon as he did, the catfish right there in the lake was gone. Yeah, right. Marty said, right. Right. Final four set for the men's basketball side. It's going to be in Phoenix, Arizona. Well, Glendale. Wherever you want to call it. North Carolina State will take on the Purdue Boilermakers. I think Purdue came into this tournament as the third best team on paper, and I think they're the second best team left in the tournament. North Carolina State has made a magical run. There's no question about that. They've done a good job, but now it is old Purdue, the Boilermakers. Or ESPN's got them winning 89%. They think they're going to win. For the North Carolina State, the Lady and the Wolfpack say 10.5 percentage points to win. Right now, it's not even close, but North Carolina State can do it. I mean, they've done it the last few games. Look, they were down on Duke, and they came back and they beat Duke. They tough game against Marquette, tough game against Oakland, and tough game against Texas Tech to start it, but they've won all of those games. They've come back. They're on the Cinderella way to do it. And congratulations to the Wolfpack. Now, on the other side, Alabama and the Crimson Tide in their very first Final Four. They're going to take on the UConn Huskies, who, by the way, are the best team in college basketball. Some say they are an NBA team. They could play in the NBA and be competitive. UConn looks like they're going to win a second straight national championship. They're pretty unbelievable. 72% of the people polled say that they're going to win the game. That Alabama's got maybe a 28% chance of winning that ball game. But UConn Huskies look great right now. It is unbelievable, and they are really flying high. So, Jonathan, what's a very unique thing that could happen here for the men and women's Final Four, do you think?
What's a very unique thing?
Unique thing.
Well,
I'm giving them it could be a million answers.
Yeah, in my bracket, I had North Carolina with Baycott and R.J. Davis advancing to the Final Four.
I know.
But NC State, I forget that young man's name. He is huge. Tractor Trailer is who he reminds me of, that kid from NC State.
Right. If the UConn Lady Huskers win tonight, we're going to have two programs, going to have two men's and women's teams in.
Oh, yeah.
UConn, the Lady Huskies and the Huskies, and then for North Carolina State.
Right.
Both teams. Isn't that weird? We've heard of one. Louisville done it a couple times.
And Creighton was right there towards the end,
right.
too, both the men and the women.
Both men and women, that's right. Creighton and Nebraska, Omaha, Nebraska. Who knows about Creighton?
Right.
Except when you go to Omaha.
Right.
But unbelievable. So there's an opportunity to have two programs with a men and women's team in the Final Four. That's unbelievable. LSU takes on Iowa tonight. The winner of that game, I think another problem, Jonathan, NCAA, this is where they messed up. The winner of this game, LSU and Iowa, will play against South Carolina in the first game.
Right.
That's stupid. That ought to be a national championship game, whether it's Iowa in a rematch of last year's Final Four first game or LSU in a rematch of South Carolina in their third game. That is a problem. NCAA didn't think that one through, I thought. UConn will take on USC tonight. I think the Lady Huskies have a pretty good shot, but they're not the strongest teams. Now, my question to you, Jonathan, if UConn don't win this, is Coach Gino done?
I think he is. That's a great question. I think just the way he's handled his press conference, you kind of saw it with Nick Saban towards the end, how he just had a different feel for not only the press, but how he talked about his players and his appreciation for them off the court. And it just seems like there's other things kind of pulling at Coach Gino.
Right.
And, I mean, what is left to prove?
Right. And I did get that wrong, by the way. I guess because they have the brackets like this set up, North Carolina State will take on South Carolina. That is official on Friday.
Gotcha.
So LSU and Iowa winner will take on today the winner out of UConn and USC. I'd love to see UConn and LSU play.
Me too. That'd be a great
on next
game.
Friday. And then the national championship used to be on Tuesday. It's now on Sunday. So it'll be Friday and Sunday, as the men will play on Saturday and Monday. And last year, so question is, tonight's LSU-Iowa game last year drew almost 10 million people, but it was on ABC. And a friend of mine's like, well, what makes a difference on that? Everybody's got ABC. Not everybody has ESPN, especially with all the people that cut cords. Not everybody has ESPN, but everybody's got ABC. So will there be 10 million viewers tonight? I doubt it. But there will be a lot tonight watching LSU and Iowa in that game tonight. But that ought to be fun. And speaking of that, what has it been for the tournaments as far as ratings go for the tournament, men's and women's? The men are averaging about 9 million viewers per game right now, per day, per session. The women are hitting about 2 million, and that's up 121% from last year.
Wow.
Pretty impressive. So will they bring 10 million tonight? I doubt it. And just like Jonathan, you were out last week, you were sick. I'm glad you're back and you're healthy. You're back off the IR. That's great to see you back. But last week I said two things, Alan. What did I say? Marty was too busy looking at videos last week. He didn't care. Alan, what did I say? Calvin Sampson always blows it. He did it in Oklahoma. He did it again at Houston for the second year in a row. The number one ranked team in the country, and he blew it again. And there's another guy that blows it, Rick Barnes of Tennessee. But Rick came close. Tennessee came close in that game yesterday. They came close. But they never can win that championship. That's why Rick Barnes got let go of Texas, and that's why Sampson got let go of Oklahoma. They can't get over that hump. Period. Bottom line. Alvin said, I don't know what'd you say? Say something about me? So anyway, so that's what's happening tonight. And the Final Four will be in Tempe, Arizona. And the women will be in Cleveland, Ohio, which I heard is one of the most boring cities in the world. Everyone has told me that have gone to Cleveland. They got the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame there. Alan, you would love the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, got the Canton, Ohio, not far away. But everybody says every time everybody goes to Cleveland, that Cleveland is the most boringest big city you've ever been to in your life. There's nothing to do. But you can say that about a lot of cities. I've been to Houston several times. Houston's not a really vacation mecca. Dallas is not. At least Dallas, you got a few things you can do, but it's still not a vacation mecca. And where we went to the tournament for the SWAC tournament, Birmingham. Try your vacation at Birmingham, Alabama, where there's watching grass grow as their top things they do. But anyway, so again, that'll be fun. South Carolina, as we mentioned, 36-0. They're going to their fourth straight back-to-back Final Fours. Pretty impressive. Coach Staley, say what you want about her. You may not like her. She's a good coach. She is a very good coach. And they'll, of course, get ready for that one. And that's going to be unbelievable to watch, I think, for the Final Fours. I think both Final Fours are going to be fun. I think they're very every team is compatible in everything. I think the teams are competitive, and I think it's a very close runoff. There's no – even South Carolina has trouble in the SEC semifinal game. They should have got beaten by Tennessee. We all know that. They blew it. So are they dominant? I don't think so. When we come back, will New Orleans host another big game? We'll talk about that when we return right here. It's Talking Sports with Chris Powers right here on Pelican Sports TV.
He just said it.
We already know that TJ Ribs on Acadian and I-10 is home to the world-famous baby back ribs. But did you know they're also champs in catering events and the most delicious wings in Baton Rouge? TJ Ribs wings are flavored to perfection and starts a party in your mouth. Served with homemade wing sauce and ranch dressing. TJ Ribs can also cater any event, large or small, with the MVP, the Heisman, or even if you're feeling the Natty Package. Call 225-283-1035. Come enjoy a drink at the 50-foot bar and take a picture with the Heisman Trophy at TJ Ribs, a Baton Rouge original for over 30 years on Acadian and I-10. Are you ready for the 52nd Annual Ponchatoula Strawberry Festival? Friday, April 12th through Sunday, April 14th, with live music from Lindsay Cardinelli, The Dominoes, Nashville South, Clay Cormier, and lots more. The parade is on Saturday, April 13th at 9:30 a.m. Get involved in the egg toss and the always popular strawberry eating contest. A huge midway offering tons of rides for all ages. And of course, get the best strawberries in the world grown by local farmers. The biggest festival in the South, the 52nd Annual Ponchatoula Strawberry Festival, April 12th through 14th, inside Memorial Park. We'll see you there.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton and Fouger. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton and Fouger today.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Here we're talking sports with me, Chris Powers, on Pelican Sports TV, seen 5 times a week right here on this Cox cable channel. Tuesdays at 11 a.m., Thursdays at 11 a.m. and 7 p.m., Friday at 9 p.m., and Saturday at 8:30 p.m. Shown 5 times a week and seen about 2 million households in the New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Morgan City, and Livingston Parish area. And we're very excited wherever you're listening to us on the app, watching us on the channel, of course, or on the YouTube page. New Orleans, Louisiana has been known to have some of the best sporting events of all time in the history. The New Orleans hosted big events like the 6 Final Fours in the men's. Some of the greatest moments of all in the Superdome for the Final Four. 3 women's Final Fours. They was going to have their 4th one in 2020, but COVID took that season away. College football. New Orleans has hosted 5 national championships in 7 games before the BCS era started. During the BCS era, they hosted 4. LSU made 3 of those 4. Remember, Virginia Tech got beat in that first one in 1999 by Florida State. Bobby Bowden and Michael Vick got beat on the Superdome carpet. And then, of course, LSU won the 2020 national championship, winning it all right there in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome which now is called, of course, the Caesars Superdome. Super Bowl 59 will be in New Orleans in the Crescent City, which will make them tied with Miami for the 11th time they've hosted a Super Bowl, and for the most in an NFL stadium, the Superdome will host their 8th Super Bowl. Big events have always found their way to New Orleans, but when are we hosting another event after the Super Bowl? The college football playoffs are on every year now. We'll have the quarterfinals every single season in New Orleans. That's great. But how about future Final Fours? San Antonio, Indianapolis, 2 times, Detroit, Las Vegas, and Arlington. Future women Final Fours will be in Tampa, Phoenix, Columbus, Indianapolis, San Antonio, Portland, and going back to Dallas again. Future college football national championships, and this is where we have an opportunity to get one here. Atlanta this year and Miami next year. After that, they haven't listed one. That's a chance we could get that next one, or the next maybe 2 years after Miami. We gotta get that one. How about future Super Bowls? New Orleans this year, San Francisco next year for Super Bowl 60, and after that, 61 will be in LA. When you look at it, think about it. Tennessee is building a $2 billion stadium. Chicago is about to start building their stadium. Now, understand that Super Bowls really can't go to Chicago because of ice storms and what have you. That's what's happened in Dallas, and that's what happened in Detroit. But don't think Chicago won't get an opportunity to host at least one Super Bowl. But they're going to have Final Fours. Carolina, the owner Tepper, who's big hedge fund genius, he's talked about building a retractable roof stadium in Carolina. So my question is, what is happening to New Orleans? Is it the crime that's been the big problem? Is it the population that's leaving New Orleans? Is it the businesses that are leaving New Orleans? Jonathan, I mean, New Orleans used to host all kinds of big events over the years, boxing events, Final Fours. What in the heck is going on? Right now we got one in the Super Bowl, and after that, nobody has New Orleans hosting anything. So in this Super Bowl, they got to knock it out of the ballpark. There cannot be a power outage. There cannot be a shooting in the French Quarter. There can't be anything like that. It has to go, perfect as perfect can be in New Orleans at the Superdome this next year.
Well, I have 2 words for you, Chris. Lastroya Cantrell.
Oh, my goodness. The worst. We thought the other guy was horrible.
Yeah.
He just got out of jail.
Right.
Coach Ray Nagin.
To answer your question, what is it? The answer is yes. It's all of those things, Chris. It's all of those things, including the mayor and an incompetent leadership.
We have got to get that back. Also, before we go, Pelicans, tough slate. And look, they're now in 6th place. And they're only 2 games ahead of the Phoenix Suns and also of the Kings. So they've got to start playing good basketball. They'll play the Suns tonight. They'll play the Magic, Spurs, and then they're going to the Suns again. They'll play at Portland, at the Sacramento Kings, and the Golden State Warriors, and then they'll close out their season in New Orleans against the Lakers. So they are 6 right now, and they could actually drop down to a play-in tournament if they don't watch it. They got to be careful about that. We'll continue more of that with the Pelicans next week. Well, that'll do it this week. Thanks, Jonathan, for all you do. Alan, all you do. Marty, all you do, my friend. We'll be back again next week talking sports with Chris Powers right here on Pelican Sports TV.
Rocks and fires. Tommy White with it. Johnson heads to the ball.